what I think is a fascinating question that was asked by my editors at Fox Sports, and we've included here. Which coach needs a win most in week 1? And I picked Penn State, James Franklin. Nittany Lions haven't won a game since skunking Rutgers 28-0 on November 20th, right? So we're getting there. We're getting a little further away from having won. You're also talking about a man who signed a 10-year, $70 million extension to stay at Penn State at a time when everybody seemed to be getting paid. Mel Tucker got paid. Lincoln Riley later got paid. James Franklin got paid. We're still seeing guys getting paid. I mean, Nick Saban is making $10 million to coach until he is 78, 79 years old. Kirby Smart's going to make a bajillion dollars, right? Two of the highest paid employees at public universities are football coaches in the Southeast, in case anybody wants to care or doesn't. Now, I also think that it's a big deal for Penn State in that you need to go beat Purdue on the road. Now, James Franklin and his athletic director have been making, hey, about 12 out of the last 13 years, we have opened Big Ten season on the road, and we're Penn State. Now, I find this fascinating because when I tried to nail James Franklin down about who his rival is in the Big Ten last year, he wanted to act like he was brand new. He told me, hey, we've only been in the Big Ten since like 1990, so we don't really have a rival, but we do play for the land-grant title against Michigan State. And I'm going, uh-huh. And now you wanting people to treat you like a dyed-in-the-wool Big Ten program, a la Michigan, Ohio State, who've been a part of the Big Ten Conference since the 19th century and ain't going that way. You're going to open on the road in West Lafayette against a Purdue team that I think is dangerous, right? The Big Ten West is fascinating to me, if no other reason than Northwest has already shown, hey, we have an offense that can go with our defense. I think we've seen Illinois show that they got an offense that can go with their defense. Who's going to be the bad team, if you will, in the Big Ten West? Because I think they're all pretty stout and right there close together. I mean, I basically picked Minnesota, which we'll talk about a little bit here, but you could see Wisconsin, you could see Purdue, you could see not Nebraska, Northwestern, but I'm still bullish on Nebraska. We'll stay away from that. I think James Franklin could do with a win. I think he could do with a 100-yard rusher as well, because they haven't had a 100-yard rusher in over a season now, even as they've had pretty decent tailbacks. But you got to go back to Saquon Barkley for the last time you could think of a great Penn State tailback, which is a place that just used to produce great tailbacks, great linebackers. That's what Penn State does, which leads me to the next question I think is most fascinating about this week 1. Which freshmen are me, most excited to watch? And I picked Nick Singleton, right? He's one of the guys that I'm very excited to see play football this year as a true freshman. And the way that I was excited to see Travion Henderson play last year, I'm as bullish on Nick Singleton as I was on Trey Henderson then. The reason is Singleton is a homegrown tailback who's as strong as Saquon Barkley was walking in the door, and also the reigning National Gatorade Player of the Year. He rushed for over 2,000 yards with 44 touchdowns as a prep senior. And he has the capacity, I think, to be a dynamo in the Big Ten. And who couldn't do with an outstanding bell cow back like Penn State, especially with Sean Clifford going into what I think is a proven year for him, year 2 with Mike Yurcich. We now know that Drew Allar is going to be his backup, but we also know that Mitchell Tinsley and Parker Washington are going to be catching passes from him. If you can get that offense up and going against what I think is going to be a pretty stout Purdue team, at least offensively, we'll see about defensively, then we can speak well about Penn State in the Big Ten East, which is not going to be easy. From Ohio State to Michigan State to Penn State, you've got teams in there that absolutely are going to be hunting for the championship by December. All right. From that, I want to go to this. Which transfer are you most excited to watch? Now, I think the easy answer here is Caleb Williams at USC because, 1, I'm an Oklahoma fan, and 2, it's Lincoln Riley USC. I don't know about you, but I've been inundated with stories about Lincoln Riley and USC going into week 1 as they play. Let me check my notes. Rice. What? Okay, fine. I'll watch that. I'll watch it all because that's what I do. I watch all of the college football. I watch Florida State beat the hell out of Duquesne, okay? I'm that guy. I'm a degenerate. But I'm more excited to see Quinn Ewers at Texas. I just am. Like, I want to see what this dude is made of. Now, let me refresh you about who Quinn Ewers is and why I'm excited to see him. He's one of just 6 players to earn a 1.000 rating from the 247 Sports Composite. Means you are the cream of the crop in recruiting. Other guys that have earned that sort of a moniker, Jadeveon Clowney and Vince Young. That is the company for which he is keeping. He also reclassified to get to Ohio State early. The reason he reclassified is because he had a name, image, and likeness deal on the table that could change his life. And the state of Texas made a law that said he couldn't accept that deal as a high school senior. So he said, bump it. I'll just go to Ohio State a year early, which is such a flex and such a power move. CJ Stroud wins that job, passes for 4,400 yards, 44 TDs against 6 INTs, and is a Heisman finalist. You're not going to be the starting quarterback at Ohio State. Transfers to Texas, where many of us thought he should have been all along. Coming out of South Lake Carroll, where the mascot is the Dragons, not the House of, but another Dragon show that I really enjoy watching. Now at Texas, he's joined by a Heisman contender in Bijan Robinson, right? Tailback, 7.5 yards deep, probably could rush for 1,800 yards if he handed the ball 300 times. You also have Xavier Worthy on the outside. You have Jaleel Billingsley at tight end. Mostly this is about, can the defense keep a lid on if Texas is going to be good? But if Quinn Ewers goes out and, say, puts up 400 on Alabama with 4 TDs, maybe a pick here or there, throws the ball maybe 40 times, we're going to be talking about Quinn Ewers the way I'm talking about him. But if he doesn't, we're going to be talking about him totally differently. Now, there's also a dude that looks central casting for Friday Night Lights, the TV show, with the grungy mullet and the cutoff jean jacket. Like, he just oozes Friday nights in Texas. Okay. I think that's going to play well on the 40 acres. Excited to see what that looks like for the Longhorns and, quite frankly, Quinn Ewers. Okay. Last question that I have going into this week 1 about the season as a whole. Which team is going to surprise us? I picked Minnesota. I'm still very bullish on the Minnesota Gophers. Gophers dodged both Ohio State and Michigan during the regular season, which is not nothing, right? They also are facing just one preseason top 25 team outside of their division, and that's number 15 Michigan State. I think they can make a game of that and then go win it. They return not just their starting quarterback, Tanner Morgan, who feels like he's been around since 2005, but the best tailback in the country nobody is talking about or forgotten about. That's Muhammad Ibrahim, right? Muhammad Ibrahim went for 163 yards on 30 carries before going down with a season-ending injury against Ohio State in a game that they were probably going to win if he's healthy enough to finish that game. That's how good he is and how good that offensive line was with that unique zone that they run off of him. They also are returning Kurt Soraka, who the last time you had Kurt Soraka, PJ Fleck, Tanner Morgan, Muhammad Ibrahim on the same team, they won 11 games in 2019, had one of the best seasons they've had in the last 50 years, and they finished number 10 in the country with a win over number 12 Auburn in the Outback Bowl. I think that the Minnesota Gophers are poised to have one hell of a season. They were 9-4 last year at a time when I didn't think that we were going to have much of anything to say at all nights about Minnesota. They've got a backbone. They've got a good defense. I think if Chris Autumn-Bell and Dylan Wright step up and Tanner Morgan throws for 3,500 yards, you're going to be talking about Minnesota the way that I'm talking about Minnesota come December. Thank you for watching the #1 college football show. Please remember to subscribe to the channel and like this video so that you don't miss any of the best college football coverage in America.